Okay. So we're having a special meeting, virtual meeting tonight, today.
Intercontinental meeting.
Continental meeting. I'm talking to Diana Medrea-Mogensen, who is currently in Denmark. And it's what, 8 p.m. there?
Yes, thereabouts, yes.
Okay. So special COVID-19 session, virtual session. And I wanted to ask you because I'm talking to a lot of people these days. Everybody works from home suddenly, whether we like it or not, whether we want it or not. So tell me a little bit about you because I know that you were used to working from home
Yes.
and also online. So, but now it's a different setting. And I wanted to ask you first, what were the challenges for you as an entrepreneur who was used to working from home and used to working online? What are the challenges now compared to how you were working before this crisis started?
Right. Well, the challenges are the same, plus some added ones, I would say. There's still the work itself that has to be done, and the virtual meetings, which sometimes there used to be coffee meetings, and now they're done online. Um, and On top of that, there's also the household part. I have two small kids at home now, so I have absolutely no privacy. I don't have a home office. I have an office in a corner at home, but that's not available most of the time, like now. So I have an improvised office in my closet that I take meetings from, like now when I cannot be at my actual office. And apart from space and availability, I think there's a lot more to juggle than before. Um, there's a whole new routine that we had to create that didn't existed. We, of course, were very into our habits and our routine, and now we just have to make up new one with more elements and with more restrictions as well. So it's kind of like we jumped 10 levels up to what we were actually prepared for. So now we just
So,
have to.
okay, so how long did it take you to realize you needed to have a new routine in place?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Okay. And then after 2 weeks, what did you decide? What did you change so you can make it work?
Right. So my husband and I, we very quickly realized that this is not going to work. We were basically trying to work every 10, 15 minutes that we would find around the day. And that, of course, create a lot of stress and that feeling that you're not getting anything done, and you're not really being present at home either, because that's also a big thing for us. We also want to be present at home. So what we decided to do is to take shifts. So there's one of us who works in the morning and one of us who works in after lunch. We meet for lunch and we do the shift change for the kids and the house. And that's how we kind of structure our day in a way that one of the parent can be present with the kids, and then the other one can work, without feeling like you're missing out on the kids or you're missing out at work.
Okay, so you're basically okay. So now, because you both work from home and the kids are at home, so basically now you have not just one job, but several jobs at the same time.
Yes.
And what you do is you work in shifts for your different kind of jobs, right?
Basically, I'm trying not to say that being with my kids it's a job, but it is kind of, you have to structure it like that. You know, you have to allocate it the time and the energy and the resources, and it's not only being with the kids, there's also housework that has to be done. You know, now we're all at home, so there's 5 meals a day, and there's laundry, and there's, you know, we have to pass the vacuum cleaner way more than before and clean up way more than before. So this also has to be done, otherwise we would just end up crazy.
Okay, so and do you have strict I don't know, breakfast times, lunch times, dinner times? Is it all set like that?
Yes, we have very strict meal times, of course, within a reason, and we have meal plans. I mean, this is from before, because we also needed to run a type shift before. We have each day of the week a theme, and then we just kind of plan the menu the week before, and we do the shopping the week before. So we are always at least 1 week ahead with our planning. So in case something comes up, we don't find ourselves into a crisis situation. Yes.
So you're I don't know, you're very organized. And I think this is maybe one of the things that's so important right now. And I think a lot of people realized that they need to do is this, having this kind of discipline and being organized, even if you're working from home, because, or especially because you're working from home right now, because I think we tended to idealize a little bit the working from home thing before all of this happened. So people would say, yeah, it would be nice to work from home. I would be working in my pajamas all day and working from wherever I want in the house and not be stressed that I need to go to work. And what people didn't realize is that actually working from home has its challenges, and especially now I think the challenge is quadrupled because everybody is at home, and as you said, you have a desk in a corner which you used to use
Yes.
when you were working from home alone, but now you can't because it's not available most of the times.
No. But it's not, that's a big part of it, but one of the biggest challenge, I mean, you know it because you also work from home sometimes, is how do you separate work and home? Because it's very tempting to do the dishes in the morning because you're home, or it's very tempting to do chores or run errands, you know, because, oh, I'm going to run some errands because I have to go to a meeting anyway, you know. So this was one of our challenges, like at the beginning, for me, when I started working from home way before this pandemic started, that I had to be very disciplined to separate my home life and my work life, because then I would just, my routine and my progress in both would suffer. So a lot of the times I just sit in the morning and I do my work, even though the house is a mess, for distressing that can be. But it's just, you really have to be very disciplined and really train yourself to be that disciplined so you can move on. And I think that really helped to adapt to this new situation, to actually make different compartments and separate different elements of our lives so we can still function.
Yeah, exactly. It's as if, I don't know, it's as if you have to book the space, like like you booked your space for this meeting right now.
Yeah.
You have to have a schedule in place. Ideally, work in shifts when you have young kids, because they too need your attention all of the time. So the fact that you found this option to work in shifts, I think it's great. And I think it's very creative, right? Everything that we're doing right now is falls down in the creative bit.
Yeah, but you know what they say, that creativity comes out of necessity. So now we really, really need to be creative.
Yeah. That is so. I wanted to ask you right now, because we don't know how long this will still continue. Um, what do you miss most from before, when you were working from home, but differently, when you didn't have that many challenges around you, let's say?
Yes, well, I think what I miss the most is being able to choose what I do, because I'm not in a position to choose anymore. I mean, okay, I can choose between working or being with the kids or doing some chores, but it's not the same variety of options.
Yeah.
I I do miss that, and I do miss the social part of my job, because I am a coach, so I meet with people, and this social interaction, I miss it. Of course, you can do it on online as we do it now, but it's not the same feeling of having your cup of coffee and your, being social.
Yeah, meeting somebody for lunch or over coffee or
Yes,
something.
yes, I miss that.
Do you still network? How do you network now? What's your best option or best strategy to still feel connected?
Well, there are two things I do. One, it's professional, and the other one is personal. Um, on the professional level, I try to make sure that what I do is aligned to what I'm working on right now. And because right now I'm working on growing my social media channels, I
Mhm.
try to engage with people a lot on social media. So I'm trying to get into conversations that I'm interested in, and it's a nice feeling to talk about these things that I'm very interested in with other people that are very interested in them. That's
Yeah.
really nice right now for me.
Mhm.
And personally, I have 30 minutes a day in the evening where I write to people, to my friends and to my family and to the people I care about. Is because otherwise the days kind of get rolling, and I feel like especially in these moments, there's this need for social interaction and connection, and I also need it. And I don't like to have this feeling that is just time is just slipping by and I'm not connecting because I don't have time, because you never have time. You can use that
Yeah.
for absolutely anything. Like, you don't have time to shower, you don't have time to eat, you don't have time to go to the gym, you don't have time to travel, you don't have time to take holidays. You can use that with everything, so I really try not to do that, and really make time, or reserve time, not make time, reserve time for social interaction.
Mhm. So, and because you said, and that's a very good point, you said reserve time for social interaction, and yes, that's important. So, how do you how do you make sure that you reserve time for all of the activities that you have to do throughout the day for each day? How do you do that? Do you have you plan a week ahead? How do you do the planning?
I mean, there's a normal operation and there's pandemic operation. Like, normal operation, yes, planning is involved, but nowadays there's a lot of winging it. So we figure out as we go, and there's there's of course I have the time that I have, and there are things that had to go for the time being. So I'm not watching TV anymore. I am not all these things that I would normally have to do to go out, make sure that my clothes are ready and ironed and do my hair and put on makeup. All this time also went, and a lot of I don't spend time commuting, I don't spend time going to places, so that's kind of time that you also you can use. So I think it was just more like reallocation of time, and renouncing to things that they are not necessary for me right now.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, yes, that involves also a lot of flexibility. So whatever you do, I think that's an important point that you're making. Whatever you do, keep an open mind, go with the flow, don't get yourself, hanging on to things as you planned them or thought they should go, because things can change, and being flexible about it would also help you stay
Absolutely.
sane throughout this period, I think.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you work a lot with entrepreneurs, so you know that the number one rule of entrepreneurship is be flexible. Don't get too caught up on your idea or on what you want, or you just have to be very solution oriented and just kind of tackle everything that comes at you, and make sure you're still kind of going in the somehow in the direction that you want to go, that you keep going forward, moving forward.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's why I wanted to talk to people who um, are used to working from home as a rule, and who are also disciplined enough in having to make their own schedule. Because right now, a lot of people who are not entrepreneurs, they work in various organizations, corporations, and so on. They suddenly found themselves having to work from home and not necessarily being used to working from home. I mean, even people who were in virtual teams before find it a struggle because they have their own family members around them. And I think the bigger the family, the bigger the challenges, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Or the smaller the space, the bigger the challenges as well.
Yes.
And this is why I thought it would be interested to have um, the perspective of somebody who had to make their own schedule, because it is about having to implement your own rules, your own habits,
Mm,
coming up with creative ideas that help
yes.
them help you stay organized, still stay productive, and
Yes.
still have this distinction between work and home,
Hmm.
because can be that can be pretty daunting,
Yes,
especially at the beginning.
I agree. And there are two things I want to say there. Of course, flexibility and self-discipline are crucial, absolutely crucial. But I think it's very normal and very expected for people who had a big separation between work life and family life, especially if that separation was also physical. It's um, it's very hard to see their worlds being mixed together, and they say that it takes 21 days to change a habit, but that's after you figure it out and after you accepted the change and after you make up a plan, and when you start executing it takes 21 days. It's been 3 weeks of lockdown here in Denmark. I don't know how long has been in Canada, but I think it's this adaptation is much longer than people have to deal with right now. And because of that, that takes me to my second point, is that people cannot have the same expectations of productivity as they had before. Because this is another conversation that I often have with my husband. It's okay to push the work forward, and you should. But it has to be an adjustment of priorities, or what the focus should be on right now, because I don't know. I would say impossible. I think it's impossible, but I think it would be very, very difficult for somebody to focus at the same level on work for 8 hours a day as they were before, while being at home and with family members around. That's just asking too much, I would say. So it comes personally, flexibility and discipline, but it also comes from outside. The expectations have to be a bit lowered.
Mhm. I think, yeah, and it's a very good point, especially if for people who lead a team, who now have, I mean, the team members now have to work in different kinds of environment. We don't know what's possible or not possible for them, and all of the challenges that they have. So I think it's a crucial point to make sure that you keep in touch often enough with them, but also keeping it in mind that they have their own challenges, that sometimes they might not be available because something is happening around them and they simply don't have the space to be able to maybe have a video conversation. So that's why it's important to be flexible as with ourselves, first of all, with our own expectations of what is possible and what is not possible to achieve within a time frame, a specific time frame.
Yes, exactly. And I see that a lot of people are taking the opportunity to improve themselves and get a lot of the things done that they didn't have time for. And I think it's fantastic, but I also want to say that not everybody should feel that pressure, because we all deal with things differently. And it's also important to recognize that this is an unprecedented for us, the ones who are living today, this pandemic. So it's normal to have all sorts of reactions to it, so if you feel like right now you feel like your job, it's doesn't give you that satisfaction, you would want to help your community more. It's very important to recognize these reactions that you have to the situation and communicate it. And because it's not, I don't know, I feel like it's a special situation with a lot of special circumstances, and people should be allowed to react to it and not expect business as usual from people right now.
Yeah, exactly. It's not business as usual for anybody. It's a crisis situation, and as in any crisis, people have different kinds of reactions. So, and I think it's also a very emotional time for everybody. So talking about expectations, sometimes no matter how much we want to be productive and focused, our minds keep thinking elsewhere, or we're stressed and we're anxious, and that definitely has an impact on our productivity and how we manage ourselves. So, and it's normal. I think, we can cut ourselves some slack because it's normal to feel this way. We don't have, like, when we are in the business as usual pattern, we don't feel this kind of pressure or this kind of stress or this kind of anxiety.
Exactly. And it's also this social distancing element, that it's also normally you are able to get support from your loved ones or from your family or for your friends, but right now you can. So that that energy, that how can I say, that emotional part of yourself that normally replenish from your social interactions, it's very low right now. So that also impacts the way you perform and the way you show up for work and for other interactions.
Yeah, exactly. And the insecurity element, because again, we don't know for how long this is still going to last. We don't know the whole impact that it will have over our lives after the lockdown is over. So there's a lot of unknown in the equation, I think. And again, it's something that we're not used to having to consider on a daily basis like that. So our sense of security and stability has definitely been completely shaken. So that's why having some habits in place that can take us through each day as it comes and keeping an open mind, I think, would be maybe the immediate things that we can do or focus on, so
Yes.
that we can again stay safe and feel, and also feel connected with ourselves and with the family around us, at least.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that connection also with yourself is, it's a good point that you're making, because the whole world is taking a breather right now. Like everything is stopping, and it's a good time to actually stop and, find yourself and center and, reflect a bit over where you're going, what you want to do, and, start again when the opportunity comes. It comes with a lot of course, negative circumstances, but it can also be transformed into an opportunity somehow.
Mm-hmm. Do you have time for yourself as a mom, and with everything happening? Do you reserve this time for yourself?
Yes, we do. We do. We have this meditation card. My husband and I pull out on each other sometimes. So if we are very overwhelmed, because it can be overwhelmed. I have two sons. One is 1 and the other one is 4. They have a lot of energy, and of course, the going out is limited also by the weather. It's been quite cold, and well, they can get a bit much at times and loud, and we don't sleep that much either, so we can get a bit overwhelmed. So we pull the meditation card and we go away for 15 minutes and we meditate, and then we come back, and then the other one can resume their activities.
Okay.
This is the emergency intervention, and
and that's another good one to remember, right? I mean,
yeah.
yes,
But it's because you have to have, of course you should have a plan and you should operate according to that plan, and we try to do that, and we structured accordingly. But you also have to understand that it might not always go according to plan. So no matter how good your intentions may be, and it's good to have an idea of what will you do if it doesn't go okay. Like if I cannot spend a whole morning with my kids for whatever reason, I feel sick, or it's just too much sometimes. It's good to have an alternative or an option to reboot, right, or to recollect yourself, or yeah. And otherwise, I do try to involve the kids in all the other time for myself. So we do yoga together, and we do spa sessions as well. they really like their spa sessions.
Okay, so how did you come up with the spa sessions then?
Oh, actually, that was inspiration from the institution they go to, the kindergarten, because they do spa sessions there as well. So at least the oldest one, he's kind of used to the pampering and the experience with water and soaps and creams, and so it's perfect.
Good time for everybody.
Yes. I mean, we do what we can with what we have.
I think that is a good idea to start with, right? We do what we can with what we have.
That's what I always say, the people I work with, it's very important, because of course it's very tempting to say, well, I would do this if I had that. Okay, that's great. I mean, we all have wants and needs and wishes, but that's not the reality, and it doesn't help you in any way. Then just get disappointed. So if you just make a really I want to say objective, but that's not really objective if you do it yourself, but as objective as possible assessment of what you have to work with and what do you need, so you can also go get those things on the way. then you're already on a very good track, right? You're already doing something that it will show results because it's real and it's not a wish.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, yeah, it's one of the important things right now is for us to see some results of
Yes.
The things that we're implementing, the ideas we come up with, the habits that we create or change,
Yes.
and looking at those results and seeing, hey, it actually works, or hey, this doesn't work, I need to change it. And that's very practical, and it's a way to keep moving forward.
Yes, definitely, definitely.
Okay, Diana, thank you so much for being able, first of all.
No, thank you.
Available for this conversation. And I will put some questions available for people to watch this video. And anybody who has specific questions about what you can do as a family of 4 with 2 young kids and how to plan for your day, they can put the questions in there and know that they're not alone in trying to create some order into their chaos maybe right now.
Yes. Exactly.
Okay. Thank you so much, Diana.
Thank you for having me. And yes, everybody's welcome to write to me, and they can find me on almost all platforms at weareentrepreneurs.dk. And I always try to put different things that we do with our family as well as coaching material. Thank you for having me.
Sure. Thank you.